Hi, my name is Brett, and I want to show you my Shopify theme development workflow. I think it works pretty well and allows the person using it to use their own editor, work from their own machine, support different stores and environments, and really have a workflow that mirrors other development environments. By default, when you use Shopify, it is easy to go to the theme and edit the HTML and CSS directly. However, to me, I don't really love this. The editor is pretty good. I'd say it's competent, but it doesn't allow you to have multiple views of different pieces of code. It doesn't allow you to customize the editor, and it's just not what I'm used to, right? And once you have an editor that you're used to and you're most productive in, it's really nice to be able to use that. Also, by default, your themes aren't tracked by version control like Git. So I really wanted to be able to track my theme with Git so it's easier to collaborate and I can just see the history of things over time and go back to old versions if I need to. And this workflow accomplishes that, so I want to walk through it. And there's also an accompanying blog post that explains all this in text and has the code that I'll use, so if you're looking to copy and paste it or just browse through it, you can do that too. So the first step is to install ThemeKit. ThemeKit is a command line program to upload and manage the files on your Shopify store theme. And it works really well. It has no dependencies, so it's easy to install. You don't have to install another programming language or anything like that. And the installation instructions are all here at themekit.cat. So if you just Google ThemeKit or just go to this, the first step is to install it and get it set up. Once you have it installed and set up, you'll have the theme command. And you can run the theme version to see what version you're using. So I'm using version 4.0.4.2, and things may change as the versions change, but the blog post will always be up to date and the basic concepts will stay the same. So now that we have ThemeKit installed, since I already had it installed, we're just going to keep on going. We're going to get my store set up, which is a test store I use for developing different things, set up with this workflow so I can show you how it works. The first step is to create a directory to work out of, right? So I'm going to call this Kinder because that's what my test store is called. It's just called Kinder, just random word. I'm going to move it into that directory. And as you can see, there's nothing in there yet. We're going to add some files. And the first file we're going to add is called config-example.yaml. The ThemeKit program expects there to be a file called config.yaml. And that'll let ThemeKit know the settings for the store, including the secret password that will let it be able to make changes as needed. So what we're going to do is create an example file that we're going to check into the Git repository that will not contain the secrets but can be copied and then set up with the secrets. The main reason we're creating example files is because we don't want our secrets checked into the Git repository. That's a bad practice, and it also could potentially give someone access to your store if that Git repository was compromised. So we're going to get started by just specifying the environment, which is development, which is a nice default value. Store, I just put example.myshopify.com. When we copy this and actually add the values, we'll go ahead and add the actual values, and those are going to change. Theme ID we're going to set to live, and that says to ThemeKit, go ahead and make changes to the live theme, the one that's currently applied to the store. You can set a specific theme ID if you want to make changes to ones that aren't live on the store. So like if you had a theme that you made non-active and wanted to make changes to it and then made it active, you would specify here. I usually just do live because with this workflow you can specify different stores to work from. The bucket size, set it to 40. That's just the default value from the documentation. Refill rate 2, another default value from the documentation. And then you can set up ignore files, which is really nifty. It tells ThemeKit to not upload these certain files. So, for example, .swap, that comes from Vim or different editors, and I don't want those uploaded. Anything that ends in a tilde is usually a temporary file from an editor. We don't want that. And then settings, JSON. So config/settings_data.json is a file that Shopify themes have that are specific store theme settings that we don't want checked in to Git, and we're not going to want it managed by ThemeKit just because it's store specific, and if we have multiple stores, it might clobber the changes that people make, and we don't want to do that, right? So better safe than sorry. So we're going to write and quit and save that. I'm using Vim. You can use any editor that you want to use. That's the nice thing about this workflow. And then I'm just going to initialize the Git repository with git init. If I do git status, we'll see we have the config example. And the next step is to just really quick create a git ignore to ignore certain files. So we're going to ignore config.yaml, which we're going to create with the actual secrets, right? We don't want those checked in. And we're also going to ignore the settings data .json because we don't want to clobber the changes or have those be overwritten or anything like that. So we're just going to ignore it. Now if we do git status, you'll see we have those two files. Now could be a good time to create your first commit, but I'm just going to wait and do that in a little bit. Now we're going to go ahead and set up the actual config with some secret data. So I'm going to copy config-example.yaml to config.yaml. If I do git status, you'll see that config.yaml doesn't show up, right? Because it's being ignored by the git ignore. And that's totally fine. That's what we want. And now we can go ahead and edit config.yaml. It's going to have the example settings, and we're going to go ahead and update it. So my theme, or my store is called Kinder10, right? You'll see that in the URL bar, Kinder-10. And password is going to come from creating a secret app. So if you go to apps and you click private apps, I'm not going to click it because I have private apps set up and I don't feel like, I don't want to share those secrets. But here's a private app I created. And the most important part is for theme templates and theme assets to have read and write access for this private app, for the permissions. And I go ahead and I called this private app theme development with my name, just so if there's other people working on it, they know that I created it and that it's for my development. And then you're going to go ahead and copy your password, not the shared secret, not the API key, the password. And you're going to put that in your config.yaml. So now when we save it, we have those secrets. They're safe and secure. They're only on my machine. They're not in the Git repository. And then we can run theme commands that'll interact with the store. So what we're going to want to do is download the theme that's on Shopify so that we have it locally for development. So if you do theme download, ThemeKit goes and fetches all of the files for the theme and writes it to disk. So I'm going to clear this so it's easier to read. And if I do ls, you'll see there's a lot of different files. Git status might show it a little better, right? We have assets directory, config, layout, locale, snippets, templates, all the default things that come with a Shopify theme. And this is really great because now we have the theme pulled locally. We're able to set it up in a Git repository and make changes. So I'm going to do git add-all. I'm going to write a nice commit message saying, initial commit of my Shopify theme. This is the code and assets that came with the theme by default. And this starts the repo for development. From here, you could push it up to GitHub or Bitbucket or wherever you host your code, and now you have it backed up on a different location. We're going to create a history with Git, and we have everything all set. And the nice thing is, I'm just going to open up another pane so that we can easily see side by side the different commands. I'm using tmux, but you could use multiple terminal tabs. You could use, whatever you want to have different environments, right? If you're using another editor, like a non-terminal editor, like Atom, you wouldn't even need multiple terminals. You just open up your code in Atom. But for me, I'm going to open up Vim for the theme, and we're going to go ahead and make some changes and see those changes pushed live on the store with ThemeKit. And what you do is you do theme watch, and that says to ThemeKit, hey, watch this directory for any changes and upload them to the Shopify store. It's really nice because if you try to delete a file that a theme requires, it doesn't let you, so it kind of has some validation in place, and it works really quickly, which is nice. So for example, if I go to layout theme, this is just HTML with liquid. It's going to be on every page, and I just want to make a simple change to see that it's there. So I'm going to add a big H1 that says hello from ThemeKit. And then if I save that, we receive the update event, and then you see it updated it. So it's nice. I like being able to see that because I know when it's happened, and it happens pretty quick, within a few 100 milliseconds, I'd guess. I'm going to view my online store, and voila, hello from ThemeKit. So we made the change in ThemeKit. It's watching for changes. And if I do get status, we'll see that that diff happened. So, you could envision this process as you're developing. You're making changes to the different files in your theme. ThemeKit is running and watching for changes. And then you create commits. So you do, got to add the files. And then you do git commit. And, add hello to the theme layout. And once you save all that, right, you could then push that up to GitHub. It's up on your Shopify store. And that's the gist of the workout. You got to make sure of the workflow. You got to make sure that ThemeKit is running with Theme Watch. You download the theme with Theme Download if changes are made in Shopify and you want to pull those changes down. You could also do Theme Upload to upload everything if you made changes but forgot to run Theme Watch. And that's the basic gist of it. I feel like once you kind of get in the flow of it, it works really well. It is pretty simple. It lets you use your own editor. And it's also expandable. So if you check out the blog post, there's actually details on how to update the config.yaml to support multiple stores. So like, let's say you had a store for development and then a store for your actual live site. You can make it set up so that you can run theme watch --env development, and then it'll upload those changes to your development store so that, other team members could review them. And then when it's all set, you could upload all those changes to your live store. So that way there's no incomplete work on your live store. That's my workflow for Shopify theme development. It's been treating me pretty well for the 4 or 5 themes that I've been working on. And I hope it is helpful for you. And if you have any questions, let me know and I'd be happy to help out.